Hey everyone, welcome to DVC Inc. Facebook Live. We are live with you today with a Facebook book birthday. We're super excited about
Nice.
that. We have a celebration streamers coming up. David Jakes has written a brand new book with our sister company, the Impress line, the Design Thinking Classroom, and we are so excited to have him on the show. Welcome, David.
Oh, Tara.
We're so happy to have you. David, I'm going to let you introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about what you do, who you are, in case someone doesn't already know you. And then we'll dive into the book and tell them a little bit about the book so they'll want to grab their copy.
Sure. Thanks for that. I'm basically, I've spent 27 years in public K-12, teacher and administrator, 15 as a biology teacher, an administrator in educational technology, both at the school district and building level. So did that for a considerable amount of my career. And then I got a really unique offer to join Canon Design, which is an international design firm in Chicago. And joined their Third Teacher Plus design studio. If anybody's ever read the Third Teacher book, the studio was built off that book. And so I did that for a couple of years and learned design. I had a wonderful experience. It was like a second master's degree, and I learned so much about design. I thought I knew design going into that job, but working with 250 world-class designers really taught me a lot. And so it was a great experience. From there, I jumped in my own practice. I've been doing that for 8 years now, 8 years. And I do a lot of different things. Most of it, I have my own design projects, designing different kinds of spaces. I have a lot of organizational change efforts that I do with clients, some professional development, but mostly it's working with my own design projects and then also partnering with architecture firms on their projects. So it's a total of 36 years career where I've done a lot of different things, but I consider myself a designer now, and I'm really proud of the fact that my career has, I've got a classroom teacher perspective, I've got an administrative perspective, I've got an instructional technology perspective, and now a design perspective. So the book literally is shaped by those four lenses, and I'm really proud of the way that which I can see the opportunities in education, the challenges of education, and what they constitute through those lenses.
So that's awesome. Yeah, that's a lot about you. That's so cool that you've transitioned. It's transitioned from education to using education design within education, but then also that's like what you get to do all the time. I often think, it's so cool when all of our roles kind of blend together. I feel like that's how it is in my role right now, where all the different roles I had in education kind of led me to where Honey's going to join this book birthday celebration. She really wants to be a part of this.
Hi, Honey. Hi, Poppy.
He wants you to join. Okay, let's go down. So anyways, I just think that in almost all of our roles where everything just kind of stacks up and leads you to where you are right now, and you're able to use all those experiences. So I'm really excited about diving into this book. Hi, Dave. Hi, Kristen. Thank you so much for joining. I know Honey is always making her appearance. She loves to be a part of the live shows. She'll be a year old next month. She is a handful. But we are excited about this new book, The Design Thinking Classroom. And David, like if people are asking, what do you expect? I'm asking you, what do you expect the readers to get from this? What are you really hoping that as people pick this book up and start to read it and apply it into their practice, that they get from your work that you've published with us?
Well, it's a great question. And, first and foremost, one of the things that, the book is about a new role for educators. And I'm going to explain that a little bit. It's not so much a new role, but a sort of an enhanced role. And what I mean by that is I make a case for for teachers to become considered educator designers. And so teachers have always been designers. They design lesson plans every day. But the book makes a case for a more capable role as a designer that's influenced by the design thinking process. So in other words, the book is about a new role for teachers, an enhanced role. is about a new classroom experience based in design thinking. And the book really is my sort of way of explaining a new pathway for the classroom learning experience. I think we have a great opportunity to shape that. I do spend a lot of time in schools currently, and to be honest with you, I see a lot of practice that's not much different from when I taught. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. We schools have done a great job of preparing kids, but it's a different world today. And so I think there's opportunities to really focus on creating new conditions for teaching and learning, and the book makes a case for using the process of design thinking as a pedagogical foundation for recreating the classroom experience in an authentic and engaging way.
It's true.
So,
I think
yeah, and the other thing is, let me interrupt you here for a second. I think it's just the
please
design
do.
process in a lot of ways can be, it's a big process. It's a very capable process. In the book, I make reference to learning design design process is very similar to learning Photoshop. You can always learn more about Photoshop and what it can accomplish. There's no end to what you can learn. Design is very similar. You can always learn more. I learn more every day about the power of design to make change and create solutions for humans that make a difference in their lives. And so I think the book makes a real good case for making design approachable for teachers and understandable. Not only that, but applying it to classroom practice. So I'm very proud of the way in which the book structures and applies design to the practical needs of practitioners.
Yeah, I like the way you put that. And Dave kind of led to that with this comment where you put an emphasis on preparing students to live a great life, not just to find a job or get into college. And he posted one of your quotes the other day that just really stood out to me. But I'd love for if you talk to us a little bit about, what you're hoping if we start to apply this design thinking mindset, if you will, in the classroom. We start to apply the practice of design thinking and students begin to embrace it. How is that preparing them to live a great life?
Yeah, that's a terrific question. And in the book, I believe there's more to a school experience than preparing kids for college or career. And I make it a point in the book to say that school should prepare kids for a life worth living. And,
Mhm.
that's really the quote. And I think with what a design-based approach does is allow kids develop the knowledge and the skills and dispositions of a person that can make choices about their life and shape their life. We talked earlier about both of us have taken really interesting paths in our career, right? And you
Yes.
never know where that pathway leads. I started out as a fisheries biologist, if you can believe that. Um, and so what we're trying to do with what I'm trying to do in this book is provide sort of a book that describes a pathway for helping kids learn the kinds of things they need to learn, the skills they need to learn, the ways of acting as a learner that will prepare them for a life that has not yet been decided or even imagined yet. And based against a world that is filled with unlimited potential, global connectivity, and really, the possibilities of great disruption, like we just had with the pandemic. So, we need kids that have the adaptability and the flexibility to see their potential, to see the future, be able to have everything that they need to be able to shape their pathway as they move forward. And that's really what design can do. And more importantly, the thing that I really like about design and where it differs a little bit from some of the other instructional frameworks we're so used to in education is that at the front end, the discovery approach is loaded and based on an empathetic understanding of the people you're designing with. So the goal literally is, if I could do one thing, it would be creating empathetic people. Um,
Yeah.
I would work very hard. If I was still in the classroom, that would be a big goal of mine, because that's what the world needs: more empathetic people that can relate to each other, that can understand differences, understand each other's challenges, and be supportive of those that are different than us. And design allows kids to be immersed in a process that actually encourages that, and having kids design for them, design solutions for people that may be different for them. So that's in sort of a long-winded roundabout way. But I really believe that we need a different skill set and different set of behaviors for kids, and design can help people accomplish that.
For sure. I think that's a perfect answer. I love it. Yeah, the quote that Dave put up there was just this one we have on the screen here. The fundamental question that all educators must ask is what am I doing to help students be ready for their lives in the context of their future, not for college, not for a job, but for a life worth living? And I think that's what you went into. You were talking about empathy and really paying more attention to empathetic people and helping us to embrace all the perspectives that are out there. And that's what design thinking is really all about, at the heart of it. It's always about the people, like who are we creating for and why,
Right.
What's the purpose? And we're not just building stuff out of cardboard for no reason. We have this thing that we're creating and we're to serve a purpose, right? And I just love that. I'm so excited about. So now I'm going to ask you a couple of author questions because I love doing this to the new author, to the
All right,
authors.
bring them on.
Just gonna lay it on. You're doing such a great job. So what was your favorite part about? Is this your first book to write, David?
It is.
Sweet. This is a perfect question then. So what was your favorite part about writing the book? Like, let's leave it open like that.
Oh, that's a great question. Well, I found out that I had more to say than I thought I did. That's the first thing that was interesting to me. I'm going to answer your question a little bit different way, and
Yeah, go for it.
I think my favorite part of this was learning to let go of things that I wanted to say that perhaps I didn't need to say in the context of the book. When I first wrote the book, I went back and looked at the first version of the book when I wrote it, and I'm going, "Oh gosh, I can't believe I wrote that." It's this big thing. It's all over the place. It's in the editing process. I had this. I'm a pretty prideful guy, and so I had to sort of swallow my pride a little bit and let the professionals guide me. And so, in terms of writing the book, it was a tremendous growth experience because I'm usually, I'm used to being in charge, and being the guy, I guess. And I had to step back and let go of some of those things and and respond to the advice and take the advice and learn to do that. And the book is an outcome of that process. And I think, I look back and look at the book now compared to what I initially wrote, and it's like a million times better. They did such a good job with editing. Yeah, I mean, the editing process was really, really cool. And as I was telling you earlier, when I got the book is smaller than I thought. It's a nice size, and I looked and I go, that's it. That's I thought it was gonna be bigger, but when I read it now, it's very readable. One of the things that I really love about the way the book came out is that it's very easy to read. That's the first thing. And then the second thing is that, I think George and Dave and the companies do a great job of creating books that are non-threatening to teachers, that are doable. This is a book that any teacher can pick up and read, and they're not intimidated by the size of a book. It is literally something that can become a manual for teachers that are interested in design thinking and changing the experience. So, I think that was the thing that I learned the most and most proud of was that the book is literally the result of many people, not just me, but there's a whole host of people that should have their names on this book, just not me.
I love that. I love that so much. And David, it's a very common answer. We have Dawn over here in the chat. She's also one of our authors. I would venture to say she said something very similar when we had her book birthday. It's the editing process is so powerful, and learning that, we don't have to be like most of us writers are pretty long-winded just in general. And so it's so hard to condense that, get it synthesized into this nice little compact package that, just like Sean says, is accessible and readable, which he is a teacher. He said this is a tremendous asset to any book or text. I couldn't agree more with you. And our production team, as Dave said earlier, is just powerful. I mean, they are dynamic, and it is a humbling experience. We all have felt that. Elizabeth Bostwick is another one of our authors here, and I'm sure she would say exactly the same. I knew Dawn was going to say that because I remember talking to her about this very common process. I love that though, and it's really great for us as educators, no matter how many. You said you've been doing this for over 30 years. No matter how much we've been in the profession, we've been writing, we've been working, it's so good to know that we're still learners, we're still
Yeah.
growing, still learning through the messiness of the process. And that's just a powerful thing because we're constantly talking to adult learners, children learners, whatever size learners out there. And it's great for building that empathy that you were talking about earlier, when we can truly know that we just felt that when we were going through a learning process ourselves. So
Yeah, you
thank you.
forget that. Yeah.
You do, especially
Yeah.
when you become like the expert in your field, right? You just kind of need to go through that scariness again and be humbled again. I love that so much. Yes, long-winded is right. I love it. Well, thank you, Dave. We are so excited about the design thinking process. Guys, if you have any questions, be sure and drop them below. Well, I'll tag Dave in this, David in this video. We'll also be in here. If you have questions, let us know. But before you do that, we'd love for you to go ahead and click the link that Dave has dropped in the chat. We'll also have it above and below this video for you. Click the link, go ahead and read the preview of the book, check it out. It's a great book. As David said already, it's pretty readable. You can approach it. If you are looking to add design thinking into your classroom, it could be a guidebook for you. It's just a perfect little opportunity for you to put this wonderful practice into the classroom. It is a strategy that, as we mentioned earlier, prepares students to be ready for the future, whatever that looks like for them. So do check it out. And David, do you have any last words? And also, while you're sharing those last words, if they want to follow you on social media or on your website, a lot of times our readers do want to contact the author and tell them what they're thinking while they're reading the book. Please do share that information as well.
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at djakes, DJKES, on Instagram, on all the platforms. Literally, you can find me. I think the final thing is that if you're interested in design can be an extremely powerful way in which to engage kids. And the most important thing is to jump in and get started. And design itself is based on an iterative process of improvement. So basically getting started with design is trying things, improving them, see how they work, and just getting better at it until you get to the process where you're comfortable. It took me, do I have time for a quick story?
Of course.
Yeah. So when I first started interested in design, I was introduced to, or I was actually invited to a library conference in Atlanta, a small gathering of design professionals. And there was a futurist. We were all assembled in a room. There's about 25 of us. It was actually in a living room of a house. It was in Atlanta. And he was giving a presentation and he said, "What if there were no libraries in school?" And I blurted out, "There will always be libraries in school." And everybody just turned and looked at me and just sort of didn't say anything. And I was extremely horrified. That was the moment that I got interested in design, because I realized that my thinking, I considered myself to be a creative person, but I thought in absolutes. I thought in the way, this is the way school is and will always be. And it was a great question. What if there were no libraries? So that was my jumping off point to getting started in design and reshaping my mindset and lens to think about the possibilities of different kinds of opportunities in education, how they could reshape that. So I would hope the book that might be a moment like that for teachers, that they see something in the book that sparks an initial direction towards design, and exploring the design process as a way to see the world, to see the profession, to see themselves, and just the way in which they view the world. So that's my final thought. I love design. It's a really incredible, capable process, and I hope everybody enjoys the book.
Yes, most definitely. And thank you for sharing that story to close us out tonight. Be sure and follow David on all the social medias. Do check him out as you're reading the book. If you want to share your thoughts, share the quotes, tag him, do that. Our readers love hearing from you. It's always exciting to hear what resonates with you, what doesn't. And yes, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Thanks, Liz. We can't wait to hear your thoughts. Thanks, Kristen, Amanda. I mean, we have all kinds of you, Sean, in here. Thanks for that quote, by the way, to begin. Love that. Thank you again for joining us. If you have any questions, reach out to us. David, happy book birthday. We're so proud. Welcome to the family. Welcome
Thank
to
you
the
much.
family.
Appreciate it.
Bye, everyone. We'll see you next time.